how'd you come to know the darkness, and how does it motivate you dealing with it and using the light to win?
Is this a Star Wars question?
Kind of. On Tim Ferriss' podcast, you were talking about the darkness and the light.
No doubt about it. It's definitely something that I think about, and the world is an evil place, and there's a lot of evil in the world. There's pain, there's suffering, there's disease, there's evil, there's war. I mean, there's bad things in the world. Mm. And sometimes people ignore those things. And we talked about this with Joe Rogan quite a bit. We can live in a bubble here in America where there almost is no pain, and there almost is no suffering, and there almost is no violence, and there almost is no evil. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I've always stepped outside that bubble and looked and seen what the rest of the world is like. And so I think that's a counter to what a lot of people believe the world is like. And so for me, that darkness is always present. It's always there. And at the same time, there is light. And there is people that are incredibly generous, that sacrifice greatly, that give everything they have to serve other people. Doctors, nurses, firefighters. There's all these people, teachers. I mean, there's just people that do all they can to help other people and to do good in the world. And so I think that's what I try and balance in my mind. And I don't want people to think that I sit around and brood all day about the darkness, because I don't. I mean, I love to have a good time and laugh and smile, and I want to do that, But I also, in those moments, I'm definitely thinking that, we're lucky to be here.
Yeah, and doesn't that make, I don't know, a day where you're just kind of cruising or whatever and looking for a laugh or whatever, mm-hmm. You're hanging with your friends or whatever. Don't those days seem a lot more enjoyable when you do have the darkness in mind, where even, you have kids, so your daughter spills some milk and laughs about it, right? If you know what the rest of the world is like, that's going to seem almost enjoyable. Like that's funny, that's cute. You can recognize all the great things about that little moment. It's a lot easier to recognize the great things about that little moment.
Exactly.
If you understand. If you think that, the world's all hunky-dory and milk's never supposed to be spilt and, all this stuff and everything's perfect and sweet, and that's kind of your mindset, and, they spilled the milk, that's a disruption. And you're like, that's your daughter. But, that's my daughter. Sure. I see my daughter every single day. You spilled the milk. Yep. That's a disruption. So it's kind of that, without hardship, there can be no pleasure kind of contrast that kind of, it brought out more, huh?
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Every once in a while, you'll hear people go like, man, like this country's going like violence or whatever, like it's going down the shitter or all this stuff. And if you think about it, and let's say your normal day, maybe not you, but probably you too, your normal day. Let's say you got up, you worked out, you went to the store. Like, let's say, I want to get a pomegranate white tea at 7-Eleven. And you go and you're standing in line and the guy in front of you gets into a heated argument with the cashier, and he starts swearing at him and saying, "Fuck you! I don't like these prices." Just yelling at him, and then he's like, "Get out of here!" And he's like, "Screw this place!" Using profanity, gets in the car and speeds away. Right? Didn't break any laws. Just that happened right in front of you. We would probably remember that for a while. all it was a yelling match. That's all it was. No violence, no laws being broken, no physical anything. Just an argument between two people
and some disrespect.
Some disrespect. Yeah, exactly. You'd remember that. That would be a significant incident in your day. That's how good the world is, or your environment. That's how good this country is. Yeah. Of course, that we're talking about a spectrum here. You go in certain areas, it's going to be a little worse. But keep in mind, like in our environment, I know here in San Diego, that's essentially how it is most of the time. If you see two people almost get in a fight, that's a significant event right there.
Yeah.
So overall, I would say there's a lot of light around here.
There's a lot of light.
So I think that if you think about this, and you've been exposed to it, so dang, you can really have an accurate perspective. The light is very noticeable, if you can constantly have that contrast and know it.
There's no doubt about that.